Today's video, we're going to be having a look at the Mattel Batman missions. This is Harley Quinn. Sadly, the case for the Batman mission figures is I've yet to find them in local retail stores. I hope that will change very soon, but I had to order Harley Quinn online, and we're going to have a look at the figure here. I feel as if I would be doing a disservice to the figure without first telling you how tall she stands. So we'll go ahead and put the tape measure next to her. She's not quite 6 inches. She's about 5 3/4 of an inch instead. And the other figures that I have currently in this line are the Joker and Batman. We'll put the two side by side, straighten out Joker's legs. There we go. So you guys can see how much shorter Harley Quinn is. She really isn't too much shorter. In fact, actually, she seems like she almost could be the same height as Batman and a little bit shorter than the Joker. She could have probably been even just a little bit shorter than that. I always kind of picture Harley Quinn being shorter than the Joker, but nonetheless, those are the 3 figures so far that I've picked up from the Batman Missions line. She comes with one accessory alone, and that is, of course, her trademark mallet. Though it has not been touched at all by paint, it actually is nicely sculpted in brown plastic, right down to the point in which you can see the individual knots and the texturing there of the wood itself. Kind of wish that the bands themselves could have been maybe at the very least painted like silver, but other than that, no real complaints I can make about the mallet itself. My only real complaint is the way in which the figure holds it. If you look at her hands, she doesn't have, yes, I know, we'll talk about that in a second. She doesn't have the greatest of grips on her hands. Granted, yes, her fingers can be pried away, but the hands are so small, I feel as if there's very little actually holding on to the mallet itself. They could have almost even hollowed, sorry, pardon my mallet. They could have even like hollowed or opened the hand a little bit further past the point where it has been. So at the very least, you'd have a bigger clamp holding the mallet in place. And that holds true if you want to take the mallet and put it on this side. Although I do feel this hand, for some strange reason, even though it looks like it's a copy to this one, just mirror flipped. I feel like she does hold it a little bit better though on this side here. She does have bend in the elbow. I know we're kind of touching on articulation already. She does have the bend in the elbow, which unfortunately is just not enough that you can get that cool pose in which Harley Quinn is kind of posed with the hammer behind her. It's just simply a case like there's not enough hinge, just not nearly enough hinge happening in the elbow where you can pull that feet off. Ultimately, it just kind of looks like she's holding it on top of her head. You really don't want that. I can imagine that would squish down her head a little bit. As for the figure itself, I must admit, I rather like the head sculpt. I rather like it a lot. It has a certain level of sass to it that I almost would not have expected to come from the likes of Mattel. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Mattel necessarily, but I do think like this head sculpt is almost something I would expect to find with like a DC Collectibles lineup. The airbrushing as well as the detailing to her eyes alone make this as a real contender for a super cool Harley Quinn to add in your collection. It's almost just then a shame that the rest of the figure suffers a little bit on posability, which we will talk about that in a second, but I do quite like her face a lot. I mean, they've even painted in, I don't know if that's intentional, but they painted in the eyeball, the iris area here. Slightly looks like there's a bluish tint to it. They've got a little reflection coming off of the eyeball itself. And of course that glorious airbrushing that's around her eyes, both on the pink and the blue variety. Panel lining on the eyelashes as well as the eyebrows, top notch. Yeah, I do really think this is a nice looking head sculpt. Even like the side portrait is one of the better Harley Quinns of a retail release. As for her costume, actually, you know what, we won't talk about her costume just yet. Let's not fast forward too far along into this review without looking further into her head. Her hair is dipped in the corresponding off colors, the blue and the pink. And the material that they used is almost slightly more of a softer plastic, softer variety here. The pigtails are not posable, even though they almost look like they should. It's not something that you can manipulate. You can't move those. Hair color is good. Face paint, nice and pale. The skin tone, I should say, is nice and pale. And she also does have a little choker right underneath there. Painted in black, a little bit of gold right there. All right, as for the rest of her costume consists of off colors or offsetting colors between the black offset then to the red, and then you've got the little Harley Quinn diamond motifs there on the top area of her jacket. The interior bodice or bustier top or halter top is an off coloring. I say off coloring, it's basically just the opposite coloring to that on the side of the jacket. So on this side you got black, you got this side red, basically telling this the obvious points to anybody who currently is looking at this. Some nice little silver there with even a diamond zipper. A nice touch there. Very pale on the skin. Carries its way also, we'll talk about that in a second, carries its way also into the hands, the midriff area, and then of course she's got her little belt. To their credit, they've even sculpted a raised elevation to the star on her belt, even to this little side straps, the actual belt itself. It's very nicely detailed. Just shy for the fact it's got, of course, big honking embossed lettering there on the back there. Other than that, very acceptable. The jacket is soft plastic. You can't really take it off, but it does look like everything is finished to the figure. I'm not removing it and the paint is simply just gone, omitted on the side there. They've actually gone in and done all the necessaries. All the necessaries. But I like the jacket. There's the back of the jacket. There's the back of her pants. And she's got herself the boots, the high top boots, mid-calf, almost military Doc Martin style boots. Black, and of course your corresponding red. Laces aren't painted. You're going to really nitpick this. Laces aren't painted. Oh my god, the laces aren't painted. And then she's got peg holes on the undersides of her feet. Diamond motif on the lower calf area. Diamond motif on the upper thigh area. And that's pretty much Harley Quinn in a nutshell. Nice looking figure. Let's talk about the negatives. Okay, so the obvious one, while this to this, and this, slightly this, for some reason or another, and I know they're taking it from the actual design model, her sleeves are rolled up, or at the very least, they don't make the full length of her arm. As a result, you get bare arms showing, which, fine, okay, that's good. The problem is, it's the same thickness as the jacket sleeves. It doesn't work when you automatically then get down to Harley Quinn's hands. It stands out, no pun intended, like a sore thumb. You see, it almost looks like if you've ever seen babies' arms. Babies' arms, because they are naturally chubby when you were first born. It happens to all of us. I was a chubby baby. The arms are slightly chubby on a baby, and then you have this big line right there where baby arm fat stops and the baby hand begins. And don't believe me, go look at, or if you have a younger brother or sister, or you have a baby yourself, I would think you probably would have known that if you had a baby yourself, but there's a big line right there. Baby arm fat stops, baby hand begins. Trying to think of how hashtag that somehow, baby fat arm, I don't know. But that is one jarring, one detractor, one that certainly attracts my periph here looking at this. Periph, I don't know. But I do notice this right off the bat. In fact, I noticed it as soon as I got it out of packaging. What's with the baby fat arms? I guess there's really no workaround to that, or at the very least, what they could have also done too is just run the sleeves the full length and stop them at the hands. Then you wouldn't have had baby fat arms. Instead, you would have just had the natural thickness of a jacket sleeve, and then you could just had the smaller hands underneath that. That's about the only thing I would find fault to this figure, other than perhaps for the fact that she doesn't have leg articulation. Now, she does have a fair share, Let me also just say too that I find that the figure does topple over from time to time. She does seem to have a little bit of, not wobbly legs, but at the very least there's something off with her legs that sometimes she does want to topple over. I think it's just because she's got very small feet. But like looking at the Joker and looking at Batman, they're exactly the same. They have knee articulation, but sadly they don't have leg articulation. Sure, they have it forward, they have it back. The arms really are what benefits the most from these figures, in that you can, there she goes right there. I knew she was going to fall over. Just going to top, there we go. To their credit, though, the arms do hinge outward, which seems to be an ongoing trait when it comes to the retail releases. They do give you the extra articulation on the arms. I just wish that could have also carried over on the legs. It more so applies for characters like Harley Quinn, because I really like this figure a lot. I just wish that she could have actually done more with the legs. Let's talk turkey. Let's talk about her posability. Her head rotates all the way around. Yes, okay. You can also rock the head back and forth if you want to have a slightly, sassy sort of pose for Harley. Her hair actually sometimes does get caught. So you're just going to be careful, especially of this one strand here. When you are rotating it, it's longer, obviously, than this side. So it's going to sometimes get caught and fall back here. But there's her head posability. Her arms, like I said, hinge outward. So to the credit of Mattel, they did do at least that. Arms forward and back. She has a rotation basically where the elbow attaches. The elbow attaches to the arm, and therefore attaches to the torso. That point there also has a hinge, so you can rotate the lower arm, and you can also hinge it back and forth on the elbow. You can rotate the hand right at the fat baby arms. She just has waist swivel. Normally I would have said this is cool. She has the legs that hinge outward. Sadly, that's not the case, but she does have forward and back on the legs, bend at the knee. The lower legs do not rotate. Doing this is foolish, as this is going to break the knee, so you don't want to do that. They only hinge. No posability in the boot area. No posability in the foot area. Again, I think a lot of the problem for her falling over likely is not necessarily this boot. Well, she does have small feet to start off with, but it's not necessarily this foot. I feel like it's this foot here. It doesn't look like it's longer, but if you tilt it to the side, one can't help but notice it seems to angle further down. You see that? This is straight. This angle's slightly on more of an angle. That may really be the contributor as to why the figure doesn't stand great. In fact, what I did at the beginning of this review was I used a display stand. Here it is right here. Just a regular display stand I had kicking around. And it allowed certainly me to do a little bit more with the figure. And figure's obviously not going to blow over. Probably the best route you could go with a Harley Quinn like this. I don't know again why her feet are just like this. One foot is angled more than anything else. That's not the biggest problem I have with the figure. The biggest problem I have really with the figure is, well, obviously the chubby baby arms. Other than that, though, I love this Harley Quinn release. I liked the Batman Missions Joker. I love the Batman Missions Harley Quinn, and I'm glad I was able to find her. Sadly, I wasn't able to find her at local stores. I ended up having to pick her up on eBay, but at the very least, I got her for a pretty affordable price, so that's okay. She was definitely one on my radar as a figure that I wanted to pick up, and now physically in hand, she's definitely one of the best, I will say that, one of the best retail released Harley Quinns I've seen in recent memory. The face sculpt is absolutely gorgeous on her, and I like the coloring and the costume that they gave her. Unfortunately, though, with the costume comes somewhat of a detriment to the figure, and that's for the fact that because the sleeves are rolled up and they've used the same arm for Harley Quinn, it does give her that sort of pudgy arm, pudgy baby arm syndrome that does make the arms look a little on the chubby side. Shy for that, and for the fact that the figure unfortunately doesn't have legs that hinge outward, I really do think that this is a piece that you should add to your collection. Harley Quinn fans, really Batman fans alike, should probably want to add this one to their collection. And if you can find it at local retail stores, local retail at least for yourself, you probably will be able to find for about $10 to $15. So that's not bad at all for as good of a Harley Quinn figure as you're getting. Certainly, as a side note, as I'm looking at the figure here in final thoughts, one can't certainly help but think, I hope Mattel continues to run with these figures. The only other figures I've been able to find under the banner of Batman Missions of this scale is also a pack that included, I think it was the Batman, I'm trying to think of the other one. It was a Batman and Robin and a Bane set, which again, I can't find in local stores. Might have to pick that one up on retail, but I really hope that Mattel runs with this line for a very long time, giving us different interpretations for some of Batman's biggest rogues. If they can continue to do the quality work that they've done here with Harley Quinn, I definitely think we're going to be in good hands with the new Batman line. Today we were having a look, or I was having a look, I always say we, but it's usually just me. I was having a look at the Mattel Batman Missions Harley Quinn, a fairly new figure. You should be able to find her now in local stores. If you manage to find any other Batman Missions figures aside from that Batman, Robin, and Bane pack, let me know in the comments section below which figures you have been able to find, as I definitely would want to continue picking up more from this line. If you guys haven't had a chance to hit that little subscribe button down below, what are you waiting for? What exactly are you waiting for? Chubby baby arms before you hit that little subscribe button down below? You silly guys. Hit that little subscribe button. You'll never miss a beat when it comes to future videos. And of course, make sure you head over to the main page. You can do it right now. I mean, I'm only going to be talking for like another 10 seconds or so. All right, you can stay for another 10 seconds. When you're finished having a look at this video, make sure you head over, swing over, right over to the main page. My main homepage. It would be irrelevant if you go to someone else's homepage. Go to my main page and go to the section that says videos. Scroll down, see if there's anything that you may have missed along the way. I know while other people are always promoting the bell notification, which still apparently does not work 100%. 100% guarantee, at least from this guy's mouth to your ears, 100% guarantee that if you swing over to the main page, you'll be able to see everything I've posted up to this point. And would you actually believe it as well? Future videos will be found in that very same section. Do you possess black magic? No, that's how YouTube was set up. More videos, guys, will be coming your way, so stay tuned for those. As always, thanks for watching, as you always do. I'll see you guys next time.